The number of cases soaring just today, more than 24,000 now nationwide. New Jersey today becoming the 6th state to close all non-essential businesses, joining California, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. More than 80 million Americans now told to stay at home. New York State with more than 11,000 cases, and now New York City with new rules on who will be tested. Plus, Governor Andrew Cuomo's alarming prediction. He says 40 to 80% of people will ultimately become infected. Across the country, some hospitals bracing for the worst, beds filling up with patients, critical supplies in some cases running dangerously low, and healthcare workers afraid they will have no way to protect themselves.
The coronavirus has changed 2020. One group that has struggled are college students, more specifically, freshmen.
COVID has affected me a lot. I can no longer be carefree about who I'm with. I can no longer be close to people I love. I have to make sure that I'm safe so that my family can be safe.
I mean, really, I think at a point, social distancing, it's really, really sad to think about it, but I can barely even tell anymore. I don't really remember what it's like to be able to go up to a friend and give them a hug. When I see people stand next to each other in public on a TV show, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? You can't do that. The sad thing is, in the first couple of weeks, of course, it was hard, but the fact that it's gotten easier is almost worse because it's just normal now.
When it was first discovered, I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was something that was being overblown. I didn't really believe it would ever get this bad.
I remember when it first came out and I was listening to the radio with my dad on the way to school, and I kind of thought usually you hear about big things on the news, but I kind of felt cool because I was like, oh, this is a not that important thing that I know about. I know what's going on in the world. I thought nothing of it. I was like, oh, there's a disease that came from a fish market in China or whatever they knew about it at the time. That makes me cool. And then within 2 weeks, it was the only thing that everyone talked about. So I definitely did not expect it to be a big thing, but I guess no one did.
When school was shut down, I was honestly pretty excited. I thought it would be a 2-week or so vacation. Didn't think that it would be what it was and that I would be home for the next year and a half.
On the last day of in-person classes, my calc teacher made a bet with a student that we'd be back on Monday just like normal. It wouldn't be a big deal. Obviously he was wrong. One of my favorite teachers, I had him last period that day, and on the way out I shook his hand and I said, on the off chance that this is the last time I ever see you in person, just wanted you to know it's been a pleasure being in your class. And he kind of laughed it off and he was like, all right, Jeremy, see you Monday. But I didn't see him Monday.
Life definitely does feel very repetitive right now. I wake up, I go to class, I eat breakfast, I go back to class, I do work, then I go to bed and do it all again.
I would say in terms of my education, I do consider myself fairly lucky. In college, I would say that I'm lucky in that my school has a lot of resources, especially compared to what I see with my friends. I do think that my educational experience is probably as good as it can be.
Education has been very different since COVID started. Virtual education is not really teaching me very well. I feel like I really can't communicate with my professors. I feel like I really can't take in the lessons that they're trying to teach. Feels like there's kind of a barrier between me and what I'm trying to learn.
I would say that school is a lot more difficult, living with the coronavirus. It's certainly a roadblock to learning. I would say the biggest thing though is that education does not just happen in the classrooms. Those interactions with other people, being on campus, making friends, like that is an equally important part of college and of getting an education as a human being. And that is certainly something that I'm not getting. And that not only gets in the way of, I think, my education, my college experience, but it's also social activities, like having friends. Like that is supposed to be an outlet when, you know, your classes are hard, and that's not really something that I have.
In a sense, school is more difficult. Work is a lot different. It's a lot more do it at my own pace, but there's a lot more of it, and it's a lot more confusing because instructions are a lot harder to understand when they're being told over a computer screen. I would really just advise people to please wear a mask, social distance, don't gather in large groups, don't party, don't try to bend the rules because you think it doesn't apply to you, because it does. It always gets back to someone, it always spreads, it always hurts someone that you might not care about, but that somebody else does. And I don't think people really realize that, and I think that if people held themselves accountable and they saw what was happening and they realized how bad that it was, that they would, but they aren't, so.
And he kind of laughed it off, and he was like, all right, Jeremy, like, see you Monday. But I didn't see him Monday, so.
I know, it was so sad.